What's up, everyone? Prison Meddler here, and I'm back with another album ranking, and we're going to do an album rank on Death. Um, yes, Death is a death metal band, and as y'all may know, I am not a big death metal fan. I do like some, like Cannibal Corpse, Death, Deicide, Morbid Angel, pretty much old. Oh, Nile, I do like Nile, something like that. But now I'm doing an album on Death. So, as you may know, Death is definitely the most important band in the death metal genre, mainly because they're pioneers, even though they got Possessed. But however, I mainly consider Possessed as a thrash metal band more than a death metal band, in my opinion. Even though I think their album released, I think a year before Scream Bloody Gore came out. But yeah, I consider Possessed as a thrash band, to be honest. But enough that, yeah. And they got one of the best songwriters, Chuck Schuldiner, if I said his name right. But you know what I mean. But yeah, he is one of the best songwriters in metal history and one of the best guitarists of all time. Such an amazing person. Chuck Schuldiner is just one of the best songwriters in metal, without a doubt. So without further ado, let's get started with the ranking. Now, since the band that has never released a bad album or any mediocre materials, I will have to say that Spiritual Healing is my least favorite Death album out of all seven. Now, this is an amazing album, but I have a little bit of issues with this album, mainly because I feel like the lyrics and the songwriting doesn't match together. Like this song, I'm sorry, the album completely abandons their violent, like gory lyrics and it focuses more on the social commentaries than their like killing, violent references in their first two albums. Not only that, I feel like certain songs that are a bit too long, such as, the title track, what else? I mean, look at the list here. But, alright. Yes, title track, that's over 7 minutes, with it. Yeah, most of the very long songs don't really need to be that long, to be honest, in my opinion. So, that's my main issue with it, but besides that, the rest is just pretty much in great shape. But yeah, this album has more of the political stuff, like mainly about abortion, genetics, and all that. But besides that, this has to be my least favorite Death album. Still a great album, but just my least favorite.
I told you once, but I will say it again. When you live the flesh.
Now, don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of this album, but I also had some issues with this album too. I feel like, as y'all may know, I feel like this album has ran out of ideas. And actually, mainly the production's kind of the problem with this album, but the songwriting is really the songwriting doesn't really cause it to not affect it, but it's all good. Um, yes, Death's final album, The Sound of Perseverance. I mean, yes, I love the song Scavenger of Human Sorrow, Spirit Crusher, Story to Tell, Flesh and Power It Holds, and Moment of Clarity, and also the Judas Priest cover, Painkiller. Yeah, it has a brand new lineup, mainly because why I had to put this as my second least favorite. But don't get me wrong, I really love this album. Oh, I also love the instrumental. My bad. I also love the instrumental Voice of the Soul. I it just has amazing songwriting, and this album, I feel like this album has pretty much abandoned its most death metal stuff in there. It's death metal, yeah, but I feel like it's more progressive than death metal, in my opinion, which is not really a bad thing. So, yeah, amazing album, but this has to be my second least favorite. Now on to the perfect album. Now, yes, some of you may be shocked I put Scream Bloody Gore at number 5. Don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of this album. But definitely a death metal classic, definitely the most important death metal album. Like, definitely probably their most evil album in their career, and mainly about horror, gore, killing, all violent lyrics. But I feel like this album is their first death metal album, in my opinion. But yeah, it just has such great songs. This is definitely a masterpiece album whenever you listen. One of my favorite albums in 1987. Severely 80s classic for sure. Definitely very evil sounding. Not great production, but I feel like shitty production mixed with evil music makes it a masterpiece. That's why I had to put this up at number 5. I definitely adore this album, but it has to be at number 5 for me. But as only know that one of the bands, Death is one of the bands, has never released a mediocre album. That's why this is very hard for me to rank them. Human is easily one of Death's best albums, but unfortunately, it's at number 4 for me because I feel like their top 3 are better. Now, yes, this is the band's first album with progressive elements to it, and their only album with Paul Masvidal and Sean Reinhart. And their first album was Steve Gio or whatever his last name is. But yeah, I heard that their drummer Sean Reinhart passed away this year. I don't know how he died or but yeah, R.A.P. to him. So yeah. But But besides all that, this is an amazing album. I love all songs. I'm just a fan of Chuck Schuldeiner's songwriting throughout this album. This is just a masterpiece from start to finish, and we already at number 4. This is why Death is one of my favorite bands of all time, and they're easily my favorite death metal band. So yeah, I'm just a big fan of the recording. No, I'm sorry. Fuck, dude. The fuck's up in my mind? Anyway, I'm a fan of this album from start to finish. That's all I have to say. Just an amazing album. And many of y'all would be surprised that I put Leprosy higher than usual. I am a fan of this album. Yeah. But, yeah, the production is bad, but like I said before, shitty production makes more evil music. But, but this album does have better songwriting than Scream Bloody Gore. Now, I'm not saying Scream Bloody Gore's songwriting is shit or anything. I just feel like this album is better. But this is, I feel like, I just love how evil this album is. With Leprosy, Born Dead, the lyrics and the songwriting match together for sure. I'm just a big fan of this album. Probably one of my favorite metal albums in 1988. With classic songs like Track, Born Dead, Left to Die, Pull the Plug, which is one of their most popular songs. Same with Open Casket. They only have 8 songs, 8 masterpiece songs. Just 10 out of 10 for me. I am a big fan of this album. And Rick Ross, not the rapper Rick Ross. There's a guitar player named Rick Ross. He is an amazing guitar player. I enjoy. It was one of the best solos he actually played throughout this album. Excuse me, guys, got a little hiccup. Same with Chuck Schuldiner. Amazing guitar player as always. A really great lineup. That's all I have to say for this masterpiece. Alright. This album is just perfect. Individual Thought Patterns is just perfect. Yes, I know it's at number 2, which I will explain later. I'm just a fan of the song. Even though all songs are under 5 minutes, and I think the open spaces and the middle sections are just perfect. It doesn't feel like a shorter album, even though it's 40 minutes, but still, it's just perfect the way it is with this album. I'm a fan of it. This may be my favorite album in 1993. I just enjoy this album for overactive imagination. What I love about this album, just like with usual Death albums, is Chuck Schuldeiner's songwriting. He is one of the best songwriters whenever it comes to metal. Like I said before in the beginning, he is just a mastermind throughout this album. I just love its progressiveness. Everything, I love it. Whenever it comes to perfect albums, I know I'm not really good at making details here, but I'm just, You, whenever you listen, if you haven't listened to this album yet, you really need to listen to it right now. This is just a masterpiece album. Very heavy, very. Well, I have to say it. Just one of the best albums I ever listened to. That's all I have to say for this one. Holy shit. Symbolic is easily my favorite Death album. Well, I wouldn't say easily because it's very hard to pick a favorite Death album since almost every album by them is just perfect. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that Individual Thought Patterns. Chuck started using more scream vocals in his growling vocals. I forgot to mention that because I keep bragging about how perfect this album is. But now we're talking about Symbolic. All 9 songs are just perfect. What else can I say about it? I just have nothing to say about it. This may be my favorite metal album in 1995. This is why I love Death so much. I just can't believe I haven't done an album ranking on them yet. Whenever I listen to this album I was blown away. I thought the previous album was going to be their best, but this album just ended up getting better. This is definitely one of the most important metal albums of all time, especially if you're into 90s metal. You really need to check this album out. It's got the drummer Gene Hoglan in it. Well, mainly the drummer throughout this album. Gene Hoglan is probably my favorite drummer of all time. He's been in so many bands like Dark Angel, Death, as y'all may know, Fear Factory, Strapping Young Lad, Deathclaw, Testament. Just so many bands. But, yeah. Just a big fan of him. This is probably my favorite lineup from Death. Just listen to this album and you'll see what I mean. Not only it's a masterpiece with its songwriting, it has some catchy moments with the guitar riffs. Especially with the song Perennial Quest, the final song. Listen to that song and you'll see what I mean. I just find the guitar riffs very, very catchy. This is why I adore this album so much. Hell, I might think about buying a physical copy of this album. Who knows? And I'm not really a CD collector. Alright guys, that is my ranking for Death. And what is your album ranking? Please put in the comments what is your ranking. And yes, my next album ranking will most likely be Testament. So yeah, hope if you like this video, subscribe if you haven't, and give this a thumbs up. I hope you enjoy this video. Sorry if I'm repeating myself a bit, but when it comes to masterpiece albums, it's just very hard to talk about. But yeah, hope you enjoy my Death album ranking, and I will see y'all next time. Peace out, everyone.